With Halo Infinite's multiplayer being free and being available on both PC and Xbox, the Halo universe is more accessible than it's ever been. In fact, just recently the statistic came out that 20 million Spartans are on the battlefield in Halo Infinite. 20 million breaks all records of all previous Halo games. Well, that got me thinking. That means that there are large swathes of people who are coming into Halo for the first time. They're downloading the multiplayer, they're picking up the controller, and they're jumping into game controlling a character they know nothing about. Entering a universe they know nothing about. Well, we just can't have that. That's not acceptable. The best way to engage and relate to the game you're playing and the character you're playing as is to know a little bit about them. And while yes, the character that you control is effectively conditioned as being an extension of yourself, there's still some lore that surrounds the character you control that new people to the Halo universe should probably know. I mean, when you really start to look at it, it's quite confusing. They're humans fighting humans. They're called Spartans, but they're not the Spartans of ancient Greece. They're some different kind of Spartans. Well, that has connotations of ancient Greek mythology, and yet they wear armour called MJOLNIR, which is Norse mythology. So how can they be both Spartans from Greece and Viking Norse mythology at the same time? And really, if you look at the armour bay in Halo Infinite, there's also armour there that is stylised like samurai. So it's something of a minefield of confusing and contradicting information. Well, that got me thinking. Perhaps a little primer series or an introduction to the Halo universe is needed. And well, I'm taking that responsibility upon myself. And let's be honest, in this circumstance where you're picking up Halo Infinite's multiplayer for free, and you're being introduced to the universe for the first time, the first quote-unquote character you're coming into contact with is a Spartan. So I've put together a video that gradually escalates in its complexity and gradually deepens in its lore to give you a great primer to exactly what your character is in Halo Infinite. So, what is a Spartan? Spartan is the character you control in-game. It's a good start so far. From a lore perspective, a Spartan is a super soldier of the United Nations Space Command, or UNSC. Based in the 26th century, technology and humanity has advanced tremendously in the 500 years that have elapsed. Spartans represent the pinnacle of a multitude of different fields. To be a super soldier, there needs to be something super about them, and I can tell you it isn't just limited to their armour. First, there are 4 distinct classes of Spartans: the Spartan-IIs, IIIs and IVs, and the Orion candidates, who were retroactively named the Spartan-Is and came before the Spartan-IIs. Every class represents a respective super soldier program. The Orion candidates, or the Spartan-Is, were the first ventures into super soldier programs and had mixed results, but was ultimately deemed a failure. The Spartan-IIs had immensely superior results, but with a high mortality rate. Nearly half of the original candidates died before seeing battle. The Spartan-IIIs innovated to the point that 100% of candidates lived to see battle, while also massively reducing the cost per soldier. This unfortunately had a knock-on effect of making them more akin to throwaway soldiers, sent on suicide missions, with most dying in their first battle. The Spartan-IVs, of which your character in Halo Infinite is one, is the newest class of Spartans and arguably the most successful super soldier class to date for a number of reasons. Although most would think of, say, Captain America when the term super soldier comes up, the Spartans are significantly more quote-unquote super than that. But let's first address why they're called Spartans. The Spartans of ancient Greece were some of the finest warriors of the age. This was due in part to their warrior society. and the ethos that every member of the state is a soldier first. One of their more archaic practices was known as agoge, whereby every male from as early as the age of 6 were educated and trained to be warriors. Learning from such a young age alongside their superior training and strategies made them some of the greatest warriors in history. The Spartans in Halo are called Spartans because the candidates of the Spartan-II and Spartan-III programs were first conscripted to serve the UNSC military at the age of 6. This is one of the major morally and ethically debatable choices of the entire Spartan branch, but at the time, and with how desperate of a position humanity were in, it was deemed a necessary evil, but was still classified top secret as a black project within the Office of Naval Intelligence's Section 3, the UNSC's Illuminati-like CIA shadow government, so to speak. This is the primary reason that they are called Spartans, because the first 2 classes of Spartans mirrored that of ancient Spartans. As previously said, the Orion candidates were retroactively called Spartans to pay tribute to them, and the Spartan-IVs are called Spartans to give a sense of continuity between these older programs and the newer one. The Spartan-IIs were kidnapped from across human-controlled space because their genetic markers indicated they'd have the best compatibility and thus best chances of survival within the Super Soldier program. 75 were kidnapped in total. They were trained in military doctrine and the art of war until the age of 14, when they were given human growth hormones to bring about early onset puberty. A side effect being they ended up, on average, nearly 7 feet tall. After this, the actual super soldier part of the program came about. They were given a set of biological augmentations, cybernetic enhancements, and genetic therapies to sculpt them into super soldiers. In its simplest form, their bones were grafted with titanium carbide, their muscles were altered, increasing their raw strength. Their nervous system was augmented for faster reactions and reflexes. Their eyes were enhanced to give them better colour and night vision. They were given a special cybernetic implant at the base of their skull which interfaces directly with their brain, and were given gene therapies to increase their ability to heal and elongate their lifespan. The augmentation procedures themselves caused the death of nearly half of the candidates. 33 of the original 75 survived. But these 33 were 7-foot tall super soldiers, their bones unbreakable, able to lift 3 times their body weight, which itself was also nearly double the norm, meaning that effectively they were as strong as 6 normal humans. They could react 3 times faster than a normal human, could run at 34.2 miles per hour, could see in perpetual darkness, and the combined effects of all of their augmentations working in concert pushed their capabilities far beyond predicted parameters. And with time to acclimate and adapt, they'd only get stronger and faster. For full details on the Spartan-II Augmentations, see the video linked in the description below. By the time of the Spartan-III program, humanity were at war with the Covenant, and countless human worlds had fallen to this new alien foe. As a consequence, there was an influx of orphans from the war. The Spartan-III program made use of those with the genetic markers for the Spartan-III program, with some candidates being as young as 4. They underwent a similar training and augmentation process, except the Spartan-III augmentations were all chemical rather than surgical, and had been refined to the point that all 300 candidates that were conscripted survived. The resulting speed and strength fell approximately in line with the Spartan-IIs, if a little bit less. But as previously said, these Spartans were intended for suicide missions, and only saw a single engagement after augmentations. There were 3 companies of Spartan-IIIs, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma companies, respectively. Save for 7 survivors from Alpha and a few survivors from Beta Company, only the Gamma Spartan-IIIs survived their first mission and were factored into the Spartan branch at a later date. Again, for full information on the Spartan-III Augmentations, again see the video linked in the description below. The Spartan-IVs, of which you are one, returned to the ethos of the Orions, or Spartan-Is, in using full-grown consenting adults for the program. Innovating off of the success of the previous classes, the UNSC and the Office of Naval Intelligence developed a new set of augmentations for the Spartan-IVs which, while not quite as powerful as the earlier classes, still made them super soldiers in every metric you can measure them by. Their bones are still nearly unbreakable. They are still immensely strong, falling just short of the Spartan-IIIs, with faster reactions, better vision, implanted organs, gene therapy, cybernetic implants, and some adjustments to their metabolic and circulatory systems. For full details on their augmentations, see Spartan-IV Augmentations video link below. After all of these augmentations, the next big step for all three of these Spartan classes was their armour. The Spartan-Is really didn't have armour because it was a first pioneering effort, and again was deemed a failure. The Spartan-IIIs were actually given a semi-powered infiltration armour, a cheaper, less powerful armour than the Spartan-IIs before them and the Spartan-IVs after them. This again was a decision made for cost cutting and the fact that they were ultimately sent on suicide missions, so the armour only had to protect them long enough for them to achieve their objective and then die. Surviving Spartan-IIIs, however, were given the upgrade to the more powerful armour system. It was named MJOLNIR because of the connotations with Norse mythology. MJOLNIR was the hammer of the gods that could only be lifted and wielded by the gods. MJOLNIR armour is a powered exoskeleton that is so remarkable that a normal human cannot use the armour without injuring or killing themselves. In testing, MJOLNIR armour responded so fast and so powerfully that it broke the arm of the tester. Unfortunately, their pain-induced spasms then were translated by the armour into further movement, further breaking the arm, until the armour basically just chewed up the occupant. Since the Spartans were super soldiers and had received augmentations that made them godlike in strength and speed, only they could wear MJOLNIR without injury. MJOLNIR armour has 3 separate generations, each with dozens of variants for specific applications, but what is unchanged across all 3 is the use of remarkably strong titanium alloy armour, weighing just shy of half a metric ton, extremely powerful force amplification systems, a neural interface allowing thought to be translated to motion seamlessly, energy shields, a full heads-up display, and being powered by a micro-nuclear fusion reactor. The combination of a Spartan and their MJOLNIR armour resulted in the finest warriors humanity has ever produced. Able to punch through concrete, lift several tons of weight, run at incredible speeds, react in less than 20 milliseconds, and able to take and dish out incredible levels of destructive force. MJOLNIR is the most advanced powered exoskeleton assault armour that has ever been built and is the immediate identifying characteristic of a Spartan, as if being a 7-foot tall super soldier wasn't enough. I have done extensive breakdowns of all 3 generations of MJOLNIR armour to date, all of which are linked in the description below for your enjoyment. And there you have it. You now know the basic information regarding the Spartans and thus your character in Halo Infinite. You are a Spartan-IV super soldier, sporting biological and surgical augmentations, cybernetic enhancements and genetic engineering to make you faster, stronger, and more resilient than any human in history. You wear the most advanced armor system ever developed, and you can go toe-to-toe with alien aggressors that are much bigger and stronger than humans, and come out victorious, time and time again. You are the finest soldiers humanity has ever produced, so rather than sit on all of that untold potential of war and combat and destruction, get into your suits and get into battle. The only way to truly know your limits is to keep pushing, keep fighting, become a Spartan. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking and subscribing. I just want to give a quick shout out to my patrons and YouTube members, Spartan-10148, my Metarch, Dylan, Falcon X003, Kenwood, Irrefutable Justice, Leon, Neek and Ramiz, my monitors. Alvin, Andrew, Brand, Brian, Cameron, Chris, Darian, Devon, Flaming Halo, Greenblood, Kyle, Legions Lost, Michael, Prophet Bear, Spartan and Wolf, my sub-monitors. My fleet of Strato Sentinels. My diligent enforcers. And all the other awesome people that have jumped aboard to support the channel over at Patreon. Another shout out to Todd Morrison, my transcendent YouTube member. And just one quick reminder to support us on all major social media channels including Discord. Much love from 00. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.